Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wargaming.net League North America Season 5 Finals. The time is now where we're going to see the final two teams duke it out for the $171,000 prize pool. First place is going to take $75K, second place $40,000K.
This is what we've been waiting for. This is all of it. And the story up to this point, eLevate, the kind of team that just started looking, at the beginning of the season, looking really horrible, looking like the team that wasn't going to really impress us. We almost brushed them by the wayside. After their first few losses, they turned it around completely. And just now they're here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people didn't expect them because, you know, they are sort of the freshmen going into this. They're the newcomers coming into the league, and they're trying to make a statement, and it's normally the old guard that are there to backhand them and say, hey, why don't you calm down, guys? You guys still need a lot to learn. Well, guess what? It's the older guys that need to learn a lot. A lot of big upsets, and you're going to see that right here. Let's take a look at their road to the finals.
The type of aggressive play that eLevate would bring in the past was a breath of fresh air a number of times.
Also, that's formerly Bernal Empires. They've kind of changed things around, done a little merger with the team eLevate from the Silver League, and are kind of looking to grow, and it looks like an interesting step for them.
You took the game to the next level when you went on an international stage and Rumble in the West.
I think eLevate was overly aggressive in this situation.
And that is it. Simp is able to take it 5-2.
I would say a new and improved team.
Maybe new and improved, but they're having trouble because eLevate is sitting here now at 0-2. I think that what eLevate's been trying to do strategically is not allow their opponent to ever be comfortable.
No. Oh, God.
And he's already...
Yorick in the 251 is able to just take 100% hit points.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
down he goes. Fun Gaming will take it 5-4.
eLevate's currently sitting in 12th place in the standings. You had losses against Simp, RBS, Fun Gaming, and Cunningham's. They have shown great promise in some of their plays, just with their tactics and strategy. Victoria's Secret, who had a hell of a series against eLevate, now ready to fall as the remainder of eLevate's push it in. And that's it. Lost gets it, and eLevate closes the tiebreaker series 5-4, straight ahead. And he goes down. eLevate closes the series 5-2 against eLevate. Good series between these two teams, but eLevate proved victorious.
eLevate will take it 5-1. No way. These guys are so good, man.
You know, it is important to mention that eLevate, they started off very, very rocky. 3 losses off the bat, and they've just been crushing ever since then. That shows you just the way they adapt and evolve in this series, in this type of format. They've been looking a lot better, and I think they're going to do really well.
And Rookhill, I do think they're going to do pretty well. They're looking so good.
They've improved by an absurd margin.
Yeah, and it really shows you that the aggressors are having the big advantage over here on a format where a lot of people said it's just how well you can defend. No, it's how well you can attack, actually, because we're finding a lot of discrepancies in these teams being able to not only put on a lot of aggression, but also defend against the entire range that these teams are really threatening. There's like really hard west side pushes, really hard east side pushes. It's keeping your opponents on their toes, and when they least expect it, you're pushing them over.
Exactly. Just everyone can figure out how to defend because of their experiences from previous formats. They have experience there. Everyone knows how to do it. It's just exactly when they turn it around. And eLevate's one of those teams. eLevate is one of those teams that's also excellent on the attack.
They're approaching aggression a little bit differently in incorporating a wider range of different attacks to really hit you with. I feel like there's still a little bit of, you know, passive, I shouldn't say passive, but more so like theoretical consistency with eLevate. With eLevate, you never know what to expect, and you're going to find that out here on their road to the finals.
eLevate, this will be the first time they're going to get broadcasted tonight as well. They defeated River of Blood in relegation, and that was a fan favorite.
It's always good to get that first win, so we shook off the nervousness.
we're seeing teams such as eLevate performing better into week 2 of season play in the Gold League. Consequences, the last tank alive for eLevate, and that's it. Simple Tankers does it 5-2 in the series. And even though they were losses tonight, those teams can still hold their heads up high and say, we are starting to go toe-to-toe. We are making these veteran teams sweat. This is straight up traded crossfire from eLevate, and they are shutting this map down.
That was an outplayed situation.
But look at this, eLevate really turning Simp on their heads in Battle 6. And that's it, eLevate does it. eLevate beats Simp 5-3 in this series. Impeccable play from eLevate.
He's back on his feet. Gabriel Angelos will go down. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. eLevate taking it 5-2 in a brilliant performance.
Beautiful play coming from eLevate. And Randall, this has to be one of the best series we've seen, not just from these two teams, but I think overall this season. And that does it. eLevate takes the series 5-4.
They're about as motivated as you can be.
Both teams want to win. Both teams want the prestige of representing the North American region when they go to the global finals in Poland on April 25th. Clutch is with both team captains ready for this finals. Clutch, take it away.
Thank you very much, Greed Torp. It's an honor to be here and to have both of these teams in the finals. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for eLevate and their opponents, the first time in the Gold League and now in the finals, eLevate. Gentlemen, the 4 maps that have been banned for this series are Steps, Ruinberg, Cliff, and Prohorovka. The 2 maps remain, Himmelsdorf and Mirovanka. Lamp, you have first choice.
Mirovanka.
Mirovanka will be the first map. What will be your starting position, eLevate, attack or defense? Attack. For the second map, Himmelsdorf, Lamp, it's your choice to attack or defend.
We'll defend.
They will defend on Himmelsdorf. This is a monumental achievement just to be on this stage today. But eLevate, do you have any words for your opponents before we start?
Just see you on the other side.
G-Forcer.
We waiting well for this. Let's just have a good run, have a good game, have fun.
Gentlemen, please shake hands. To your stations, good luck and have fun. Let's battle.
There you have it, mutual respect between both teams. Obviously, they are the unlikely pairing to be up here on the stage, but they've definitely deserved it. As you said multiple times, they're a little bit under the radar, both these teams. But if you look at it, how consistent have they been?
Yeah, you'd think you've brought this one up. You talked about how taking away those first losses of eLevate,
that's right.
They've been excellent. They've only improved. For eLevate, it's a little bit more back and forth than that, but it has been stellar, taking out opponents as they have, really shining and showing even in regular season that they had the capability to beat the best of the best.
Now, I'm going to go back to my statistics. Even though they've been wrong throughout this this grand finals, I'm going to look at it and say that eLevate, they have the overall better tankers as of right now, statistically speaking. eLevate has more experience than their opponents. I know eLevate is capable of a lot, but if I'm going to throw my money on someone, it's going to be for Team eLevate.
I think I would have to agree. Live experience, being able to work under the pressure, you have to give it to eLevate on that. But eLevate's ability to kind of throw crazy strats out there, if they throw something out that is unexpected, what better place to do it than at a live finals? The place where people are a little bit more nervous, where they are less likely to give you their absolute best 100% reactions than where they've been practicing.
I feel like eLevate has been going off of their feel, how they think they can approach their opponents, and eLevate has been that team that says, let's prepare for you, let's go ahead and spend a lot of hours just analyzing your play and finding the weaknesses. Well, guess what? You don't have time to analyze the new play that has come out with eLevate and really dissect everything, especially with that last series against Simp. eLevate was showing just some standard play. You're not going to beat standard play other than having your own standard play, really. You have to have that overall really good core fundamentals to be able to beat eLevate, and also have that core fundamentals to defend against all the different attacks that they can do.
Now, think about the maps that we're also playing on. Mirovanka. Mirovanka is a map that I give to eLevate. Now, we give a little bit of an edge to eLevate. I Love Lamp edge on the map, and then Himmelsdorf. I'm still torn on Elevator I Love Lamp, but I have to lean towards I Love Lamp for their map knowledge.
That's right.
So while Elevate can have an edge because it's a live event, I Love Lamp gets to fall back on the fact that these are the maps that they really feel comfortable on.
That's so important to talk about too, because you could be a better team or whatever it might be. You could think you're the better team than your opponents, but if you're really confident with, let's say we do it from basketball, shooting from the free throw line, and the free throw line in this particular case is Maravanka, hey, let's choose that map every single time. And that's what I Love Lamp. If I've seen one team that's been consistently on the same map, it's going to be Maravanka, it's going to be I Love Lamp. They're showcasing some great skills and taking out some potent, powerful players throughout the entire broadcast.
Yeah, although there's a lot of counterpoints that you can make constantly. Elevate's the kind of team that's aggressive.
Yep.
So there's a chance that they could come out and match with I Love Lamp. It's just there's so many little things back and forth that you give an edge, but there's nothing that's going to, for either side, that really gives them a massive advantage. Nothing that gives them the blowout advantage. There's nothing I can think of. I Love Lamp is going to take this, 4-0 or anything. It's probably a 2-2, back and forth, something like that.
There's so many variables that go into this particular series, I feel, because they both have very similar styles. We were talking about how Simp and the Cunninghams have very similar styles. I feel like both these guys value aggression, value how hard it is to make an aggressive push on their opponents, and I feel like they've mastered it in their own right. It's a little bit different stylistically. You could say one has an advantage over the other, but really we're not going to be able to tell until we get into battle.
But here, I think I know what it is. I can see Baby Halo right now playing around with his little Christmas tree. If any of you remember, I believe it was in his face-offs, there was a Christmas tree in the back of his webcam when he would do face-offs, and he brought himself a little like Charlie Brown style, just twig on a little piece of wood. And he's just playing with it right now. He's just been playing with it, keeping it right next to his desk for a little confidence there. There it is. You can see the little thing right now.
Sometimes it's the little things that just keep you motivated and keep you going.
I used to bring a slinky when I would go on stage. When I first started, when I felt nervous, I used to play around with something. So a lot of people will do that. They'll find a little toy, they'll find something cute, just to look at, to kind of ground you, to bring you back to reality or something,
I've been in the esports scene for a long, long time. I've been in competitive play for a while, and there's a reason why. You measure exactly where the keyboard is away from the desk. There's a reason why you bring your own keyboard, your own mouse pad. Anything that you can do to replicate what you're comfortable with, what you're doing at home, you want to do over here when you're in a foreign environment. And if you're on your own equipment, if you're on a comfortable setting, you're going to have that small little edge on people that don't bring their own stuff, that aren't adjusted to maybe the desk height. And little things like that to just bring you back and keep the peace within you are going to be a difference maker when it comes to the long run. It might be a 1% difference, but it still helps out. And let me tell you, when there is a total of $75,000 on the line, you better believe that you do every single little tiny thing that you can to get that win.
Exactly. Now, we are getting very close to the time that they're getting in. We're going to be in battle soon enough. When that happens, we're going to be seeing an attack from Elevate. Defense from I Love Lamp. So Elevate can either start this one out by pushing I Love Lamp in and just destroying them, setting the tempo for the rest of this, or we could see I Love Lamp really pull out something crazy.
Don't you think it helps that Elevate was able to see already that I Love Lamp faced off against Simp, and they have a little bit of data very, very recently in this last series?
Yeah, because when Simp did play, you saw I Love Lamp, after their first loss, come back and take 3 wins in a row on Maravanka. One of them a little bit, I think, closer than they would have been comfortable with, but you got to see what worked, what didn't, what they're feeling comfortable with. They probably don't have 10 strategies. They probably got 2 or 3. But aside from that, I Love Lamp has such a diverse set of strategies that I think a hard counter in this situation isn't going to work. Elevate has to find their comprehensive plan for victory.
But I think what's important to note is that Elevate did not play on this map, so it gives no clues to exactly what they're capable of, especially starting off with this attack. And I like that they're starting off with the attack. You know, eLevate is known to be pretty successful when they are attacking, so if they can get a quick 2-0 in this early game stage, it'll be very, very helpful. We're loaded into battle number 1 of the finals. Are you guys ready? All right, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, we have a T-32, T-69, 1390, RU-251, T-54 Lightweight, GW Panther by Ertai, and Zagarmin in an M41 Walker Bulldog. That is eLevate attacking. Defending, eLevate will have 2 T-32s, Pershing, 1390, 2 T-54 Lightweights, and a 5916.
That's right, and spawning in the bottom position, it is your finalists. Give it up for eLevate.
And on the attack, leading the way with Static and Zone Delta, it is your team, eLevate.
And look at these movements, man. Super fast with how much position they're trying to take. Baby Halo going to barely miss a shot, but you can see a lot of people lit up already. Static Zone Delta and G-Force are already lit up. We're going to see if eLevate is able to, or capable of quickly defending against the west side semi-push.
Yeah, there's a beautiful shots into Static and Zone Delta's position. They can go a little forward, and their shot out from Artie is going to go right up and over Aggressor. The huge potential damage not going to connect. eLevate has a strong pressure all over the positions of 2 of the heaviest tanks from eLevate. I don't think that's intended, but there's going to be a clash of Garmin and Baby Halo, and Baby Halo is getting torn apart.
Not a good position, and down he goes. First blood goes to Serenity 17, the guy we know we can always count on. Serenity 17, damage dealer galore.
And now, moving up, you've got 3 tanks going north. Ertai is exposed. His only cover, his only help is G-Forcer and Azrael. If they blow right on by him, that could be already down for eLevate. And, well that
maybe
could be
they
a
don't
place
have
for
to.
eLevate to come back in this.
Exactly. I think eLevate is just going to go for this overmatch right now. 3v2 Invade has 5 shots ready against Azrael and G-Forcer. Of course, they want to take Azrael out as fast as possible. But maybe it just goes for G-Forcer, the consistent fire attacker. Zone Delta going to give a little bit of crossfire. Ertai, where does he actually attack in this spot?
He waits for the perfect moment.
It's so hard because they're so close.
Akula backing up just goes a little bit too fast. Ertai tries to judge it, but unable to make a solid connection. That could have been massive for eLevate. They already have a slight advantage. They could have pressed it even further from there.
And you can see over on the south side, I mean, things are getting very, very heated. Multiple attacks going on at the same time. And it looks like, wow, Zagarmin is going to be taken out by Invade here. So a slight advantage now for eLevate. 4,400 hit points to 5,800.
And it looked like eLevate wanted to attack through the south.
Wow! Ertai just got a 1,200 damage shot on Soldier.
And that's massive. But eLevate has a chance here. They've grouped up with the rest of their tanks, chasing down G-Forcer, Azrael, and Serenity. And they could get a lot of momentum out of this, unless X-Soldier goes down quickly. If he goes down quickly, eLevate can regroup, and even though they're leaving Ertai behind, they can work with this. They're walking into a crossfire in order to take that T-32 down.
I mean, it might be done. X-Soldier just poking out right now. He is in a good hold-down position, but he needs to be so careful. One more shot will take him down. Azrael taking in a lot of damage, 503 hit points, and he's down. X-Soldier poking up, misses on Serenity 17. Wow, this is a firefight.
That is just going every which way. Consequences is taken even lower, and every single member of eLevate, you got to give it to him for sharing hit points, but each and every one of them, one shell and they will go down. Static is the only one who can really sustain any kind of damage. G-Forcer, though, the low roll keeps him alive, but they will trade him out for consequences, following up onto Star Shield, but they will lose Azrael or Serenity in this.
Can they do it? Oh, wow, low roll. Serenity's still going to live.
That is insane.
And down he will go to X-Soldier, that T-32 poking up perfectly. Zone Delta is very low. Aggressor is going to be able to take out Azrael and Static now. The next guy that's going to be targeted down, eLevate. Can they do this? They're so far ahead in this spot. Invade was able to take out Ertai in the top.
I mean, they've got it. 43 hit points on the battlefield.
Oh, man. Beautifully executed by eLevate. These guys know how to play. Zone Delta will be taken out by Aggressor. eLevate takes the first battle in this 1st to 5 series.
Yes, just it was so back and forth. There were so many moments exactly where you could just see, eLevate has this. eLevate is looking like they're going to fall apart in 2 seconds, and they pull it back together, which is such a difficult task because I really think about the moment when we saw eLevate trying to regroup and head south, which would have put them into a crossfire. But they turn it around and instead head right back up around the north, and then eLevate can't really figure it out because it doesn't make sense to them. It doesn't make sense to a lot of us because it seems like they're going to really mess themselves up by turning around, deciding one direction, then say, no, turn around, go the other. That could have been disastrous because they turned their backs to a number of enemy tanks. But X-Soldier held on and really kept the attention off of those tanks, which had to reroute.
I can't believe that a single shot did 1,100 damage against X-Soldier. He's still able to stay alive. If you actually look at all these tanks, the GW Panther being played by Urtai was the only one dealing massive amounts of damage, I would say. 1,400. Everybody else, I mean, the next one is 1,300, but still, they're not hitting those 2,000 marks that we're normally seeing with these tanks. It's really, really amazing, honestly, how the eLevate team was able to duck behind cover, utilize their tank advantage, I would say, overall, with their better hold down tanks.
All right, and I've just gotten word that there was a timeout, I believe, called by eLevate. So they grabbed themselves an extra 60 seconds. The countdown timer has just started for them. So after that first battle, they've decided they needed a second to catch a breather. This is so early in the series to burn that.
It definitely is, but I think it's the correct place to be using it. I mean, that was so chaotic. They thought they were in a good position, and then things just unraveled and foiled in front of their face, and they said, what the heck just happened? We're the ones normally good for brawling. eLevate just outclassed them. 5 tanks alive at the end. Is it 5? Yeah, 5 tanks alive still at the end. That's a pretty marginal difference.
Yeah, and the hit points were just going so very low. Focus fire was not possible. Both teams, players were just being too squirrely, too difficult to get that shell on. Urtai stayed alive for a while longer than I think he might have properly been supposed to.
I think that's correct, though. They kind of ignored Urtai for a while, realizing, well, your accuracy rate, while I'm constantly moving, while I'm brawling, as long as I'm doing something to aggress up on you, I'm not going to have to worry about that, that one tank all the way over on the side, because really you're not doing a lot of damage in general. We're going to find out what they're able to do here, though, as eLevate is going to go for round number 2 on the attack.
All right. Looking at the tanks, 5100, 2 Pershings, 1390, RU-251, T-54 lightweight, and a T-37 for eLevate on the attack. eLevate going to bring a similar defense to what we saw against Simp, with 2 IS-3s, a Pershing, 1390, 2 T-54 lightweights, and a 5916. Now, eLevate had a chance to study this, look at the way those IS-3s were positioned, and may have come up with a counter strat in the event they see this. It looks like they're going to head east for it, maybe leaving the IS-3s on the other side of the map. That could do them some good. We'll have to see how it all pans out, because we're so far apart right now that no real conflict is going to make itself known yet. We've got Urtai in the middle, and we've got a medium tank that is, 2 G-Forcer and Static are stuck together in the far west.
And we see the more conventional way to actually play this map out from eLevate. This is exactly what we saw from Simp, I would say. Overall, with tanks in position to defend both the east and the west side, but at the same time, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
There's some passive scouting from Baby Halo again in this really nice bush, and he is going to be able to spot out Zone Delta and Garmin.
And with that, there could be support fire coming on in.
Consequences.
Maybe, but I like this is where the T-54 lightweight is going to be able to do a lot of work. Where Zone Delta currently is, right along the red line, there's a little bit of a defilade. He can begin spotting, putting out a little bit of damage, baiting shots. Everyone's going to start looking in his direction. That's where G-Forcer and Static, along with Urtai, can begin moving in and putting pressure on those tanks, those IS-3s especially, who are distracted by Zone Delta's presence. But Zone Delta has managed to not get himself spotted yet, so his distraction hasn't really made itself known. But there we go. Shots fired. Now they know he's there, and he is in a very dangerous position. He could put shots onto a number of enemy tanks.
Oh, Garmin down 395 hit points. Only 26 hit points left. Of course, he is in that tier 6, so it doesn't matter as much, but you need every single tank that you can get. He's going to step off and make sure that he's staying alive. I mean, this is a little bit crazy. Wow, Zone Delta
just a little bit too high up, and every single shell went right into the side of his T-54. Nothing he could really do about that one.
Yeah. In the meantime, we do see an overmatch starting to, well, start here over on G-Forcer and Static. There's 4 tanks over here against 2. Definitely need some support. eLevate need to spring into action. Will they be able to? Serenity has another crossfire, but he is taking a little bit of damage here.
Serenity can't afford to be the first one to peek up and over.
No.
The Pershings need to be doing that.
Yes, absolutely. They need to be taking the initial alpha, as Serenity is in a much more brittle tank. But it's looking very, very scary for eLevate, as they're already starting off with a 1,500 or 1,600, 1,700 hit point disadvantage.
Oh, there we go. Serenity, that's what we're looking for. Moving around to the west, this is the proper reaction. The hit point disadvantage, yes, it may have a bit of an effect on their ability to come back into this, but if they execute properly, those IS-3s could go up very, very quickly. As long as they can make it happen. They have to use Urtai properly. That 5100 represents so much damage on the battlefield because you have lighter, less well-armored tanks like the T-54 lightweights, the 1390, Baby Halo, for example. If they can get taken down, or if the focus can be shifted onto Soldier or Aggressor without them being able to deal the damage proper, that is effectively to isolate them from the rest of their team, you'll see results. And it looks like Serenity's trying to find that crossfire, and we've got other support fire coming from Urtai in the middle, and then perhaps even Azrael and Zigarmin if they're able to play the east side well enough.
Oh man, things are looking really, really tough. Actually, eLevate has already burned 4 minutes of their time, so they need to have some sort of win condition. Of course, they're looking for the kills, not really looking for this this flag cap, because it's not really capable on this map just yet, with so many tanks still flourished among the battlefield. So they need to do something. They need to spring into action soon, and I'm afraid that they don't really have a lot of ways to do that because a lot of these tanks are very, very low.
They are. Just Zone Delta and Zigarmin. I think they're guys who can perhaps stay alive a little bit longer and do just fine by playing a support role. It's G-Forcer and Static you should worry about if they get damaged too much.
Yeah.
If they get low, that's going to make it so eLevate can simply group up, prepare for the attack, and then counterattack the moment anything is tried by eLevate. The moment eLevate makes any move, shows that there's any form of a weakness, they only need a window of about 5 seconds to take that tank out once it's low enough. For example, if Zone Delta or Zigarmin, their positions were well known, they could be taken out very quickly with a small maneuver.
But you know, how is eLevate able to actually activate their attack when there's just so much alpha?
Azrael has him. And there he goes.
Down he goes.
Urtai getting it.
Very surprising there.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, how are they able to actually activate their attack when there's just so much alpha from those IS-3s? It's either they go for it altogether or nothing, right?
It's going to have to be a big move, like an all or nothing at all kind of a thing. You have to get in there, alpha it down, before it can worry about making its connection, before it can have time to get with his battle buddy and get down into cover like we saw earlier. There goes Zone Delta, that low health tank trying to play out in the flank, not able to stay alive long enough, and you got to give it to eLevate. They're making connections when it counts. They're able to put it on the right tanks. And eLevate has 4,700 hit points. I don't think they can push. I don't think they're going to feel like they can push, is more important. They don't think that they're going to be able to succeed with this.
Azrael in a bunch more terrible position, honestly. Down goes another tank. I didn't see, I think it was Zigarmin. But Azrael, very, very low. He's going to start base cap. No, he gets off cap. They're going to try to go for it and do damage, but this is so difficult when eLevate has been just playing the sniping game a lot better.
Yeah, they're not coming up and meeting them for these hull down games. They're not showing up for it, and this is finally the push. Static and Urtai together, trying to find a connection, but Urtai is already at half hit points. The focus on X-Soldier is perfect. Just a little bit of damage from him, that's all he's able to get. But now Azrael has to go into the open, and this could be Aggressor going down, but Baby Halo's covering his man. And he will go down. Baby Halo on reload is going to be back in this fight to finish off a few tanks momentarily.
Does it even matter though? 17 seconds left in this battle. Even if they do clear up pretty much everybody, there's always one tank that can just get out of there and be able to survive. Baby Halo, he's going to go down to Static.
Yeah, Akula in the back, Invade in the back. The two of them have been making constant connections.
And there it is.
It's over.
I Love Lamp will take battle number 2 a very clean way on how to execute that. Waited for the mistakes, realized that their IS-3s represented a lot of alpha. If you ever want to cross over that individual, not ramp, but hill, you're going to get a lot of damage done to you. And if you're ever out in the open and my IS-3 is able to hit you, that's a quarter of your life getting chunked right there, because most of those tanks are light tanks.
Yeah, there's pretty much 2 ways it can go. You can either engage and make the IS-3s irrelevant, either by position or by distance, effectively, or you can take out the IS-3s and just focus them down to just remove the threat, because you can't get them out of position, because you can't make the fight happen somewhere where they can't get to fast enough. And they went with option 2. Unfortunately, it's the harder option, and I Love Lamp, you got to give it to them, handled it very well.
Now, they did get an early advantage with Zone Delta being, absolutely thwarted in the early game stage, down to just 1 shot away from dying. That puts you in a situation where you're not looking too good. You have to go for this weird situation where you're trying to snipe your opponents. But I love how I Love Lamp realized, like, hey, we have a hit point advantage. Let's not put ourselves in comparable situations where we're just trading. If we keep our tanks alive, if we maintain our hit points, they have to eventually push in on us. And guess what? Our IS-3s, that's where they're going to come out in huge, huge numbers. I feel like strategically, I Love Lamp just played a flawless game based on the mistakes that happened in the early game stages.
I agree completely, and on top of that, eLevate had reason to try and get into those trading positions with Pershings, but they could not make it work. I Love Lamp played around it too well.
Well, let's see if I Love Lamp can put on the aggression against eLevate. We're going to start battle number 3 over here on Murano.
And eLevate on the defense now. We'll have a 5100, 2 T-32s, 1390, RU-251, T-54 lightweight, and a 5916. Other side, I Love Lamp for their attacks has decided to go with their 2 T-32s and a Pershing strat, where they'll have a 1390, 2 T-54 lightweights, and a 5916 to back it all up. So they're just going to go forward, get right in the face of their opponent, and try to do what eLevate should have been able to execute on, which is playing hull down games, using the Pershings and T-32s to your advantage, while having light tanks move in for some crossfires from the far northwest and the far southeast.
One thing about I Love Lamp is that when they're committing hard, and that's about it. They're not doing, like small little corner games and stuff like that. They're sharing hit points. As we saw in battle number 1, they're sharing hit points really well, staying out of dodge very, very well, and being able to target down their opponents incredibly fast and coordinated. We're going to see how they actually come about that over here. They're playing a pretty standard, I would say, aggressive opening, taking the west side, taking the east side, making sure that they have all their bases covered. They're not being counterattacked in the early game stage, and they can take as much position as possible with Baby Halo all the way to the east side, and Akula, of course, all the way to the west side.
Exactly. Now, Akula making his scout runs, not a lot of success so far. This is much like what we were looking for in the way of Simps play, where they attempted to make some early maneuvers, but they haven't found a lot of success. So
when you say not a lot of success, I mean, what are you really looking for?
I'm looking for damage. I'm looking for forcing bad positions or forcing bad plays or really disadvantageous positions or plays, or forcing your opponent to prepare for a play that's not going to happen.
Wow. Very close shots over here on Akula. They're just like literally millimeters too high, and they would have actually connected. But it looks like a little bit of damage has been done against ex-soldiers so far.
Yeah, I'll look at this. Zigarman out on the flank. You're seeing pressure onto G-Force or in static. Zigarman is moving out on the flank in his 5916. So is Urtai. So is Azrael. And that could be a huge counterflank to tank out the light tank force from I Love Lamp. It could cripple them, open up the map, allow for eLevate to escape if they can kill time, or bring it back in after dealing with invade consequences in Baby Halo, and then support or clean up what was left in the west, because there will be an engagement there if there's one in the east as well. It will trigger each other.
Definitely a very interesting situation. I'm surprised that Baby Halo isn't actually spotted here. I thought Zigarman would have been able to see just a glimmer right there.
It's the terrain, I think.
Yeah,
the difference
and the camo values too.
Yeah, a lot of trees and bushes between their two positions. And Zigarman actually being out on the flank the way he is, you can see that Urtai's taking fire, but not any damage. Zigarman may be able to move in and help out because of the autoloaders being out there.
Man, what's so fascinating though is look at how you know, I Love Lamp has been able to encroach on their opponents and like clockwork, able to take a little bit more and more position. Now, Baby Halo did take 2 big shots here. He is 1 shot away from... He's dead.
There we go. Baby Halo a little too aggressive, and I Love Lamp didn't bring the support. That's the problem. He tried to scout. It's too bad for him. Now he can try and support his team by really trying to read the situation, tear it apart, find the weak point for eLevate, and direct his team from there.
Okay, well, as you can see, Invade, Akula, and Consequences all have gone dark. They're prepping for this really high west side push, while, of course, Z-Garmin and the other guys over there all the way on the south side are kind of out of position. If they can catch Serenity 17 off guard, they're going to be in a really nice position to potentially come back here. It is 1,000 hit points different with Baby Halo dying very early on and a couple of pot shots on Ex-Soldier and Aggressor. So they really need to get this extra tank up on their opponents if they want to be able to take this.
Yeah, and a good call by eLevate, knowing to flex. Serenity is leaving the west, and you can see GeForcer and Static shifting their positions to account for this flip by I Love Lamp. And that's going to be the press as well. You see Ex-Soldier moving up into the open. He's going to start taking a lot of damage. And this is something like the timing I was talking about in the first I Love Lamp match earlier, where you saw mistiming, but it's not necessarily mistiming. It's a push into a team that is set up to receive you, ready to accept the attack and counter out what would be the pincer and the huge distraction, honestly, while having nothing on the west.
This is exactly what we saw from I Love Lamp versus Simp just a couple battles ago, where Simp was trying to push up. They have these, you know, hold down tanks that are up on the hill trying to draw a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, there is a west side push, but they just get absolutely obliterated, deleted from this battle before they can actually come back.
Yeah, eLevate has every reason to take this. They have a lead in hit points. They have 2 tanks extra as opposed to their opponent, and they are predicting the moves of the attack perfectly. Their pacing is just in time. They're 1 step ahead of them on every account.
A comprehensive defense through and through. Invade now taking a little bit of damage now that he's all the way down on the south side. Cap has been initiated, so that is going to force the players of eLevate to really start to activate here. But they have plenty of time so far, 30 seconds just on the clock. There's only 2 of them on Cap as we speak, and we're going to see the big pushover with multiple vectors of attack.
Exactly. Now, Z-Garmin, GeForce, or Serenity, I think, are going to be the ones heading around the west, while Static can head up and over. Azrael might be the one who's going to go in and just do insane things. Maybe clown card a little bit in his light tank while there's crossfire from Zone Delta in the southeast. I love that. The 5100 being in the southeast where he is able to just rip apart any tanks that expose themselves while the rest of eLevate is still so dangerous.
And just turret breaking these guys. I mean, they really have nowhere to go, right? They're pretty much committed to this base cap, and that's about it. There's no retreat. They just have to back up into another crossfire, which is really unfortunate for them. You can see Zone Delta and Urtai are actually rotating around to go for this huge flank. Just look at the minimap. It's the most beautiful thing ever. Blue is just encased in red. And
it's a matter of time. eLevate's really just playing this safe. They don't want to allow themselves to make any mistakes. They don't want to let that 1% of a 1% ammo rack kind of a deal happen to them.
That's true.
That will happen, you know, the one that's destined to happen exactly when it shouldn't, or exactly when you don't need it, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, it could definitely happen, but you would need multiple ammo racks for that to have happen.
Well, you've seen teams get thrown off by kills that were scared, that really set them off or scare them, you know, something that is unexpected. eLevate's just playing it cool, calm, collected.
And there it is, letting the time go. 1 second left, and ladies and gentlemen, eLevate puts a score up on the board, 1 and 2 for the series. A very successful defense, a very comprehensive defense. They knew how to pick the attack apart of I Love Lamp.
Yeah, they understood exactly what was happening. It was something that I Love Lamp has brought before. It's the same kind of strategy that we saw earlier today. It's a good strategy. It works very well, but when your opponent knows exactly what to do and exactly how to react and had the option to sit out here and just tear it apart move by move, you could tell eLevate knew what to do. They just took a step, and it was little things, one at a time.
Tiny little. I mean, normally it's the opposite way around, right? I Love Lamp, because they start on the north side, they're the ones getting the great concave like this. But they're like, okay, I Love Lamp, I know exactly what you're doing. You're doing this west and east side, we could be anywhere. They go for the west side push, instantly scouted out, Serenity 17 making the perfect movement, basically congregating with the rest of his team, making sure he's not a liability. As soon as that happens, why are you pushing down the west? You're just being kited the whole time. That's what happened. Easily getting the concave or the contra flank as we saw, and eLevate made it look way too simple.
Yeah, and you got to give it to them. They're disciplined in the crossfires. You see everyone move into the proper positions to focus down one tank at a time. You can. I think eLevate's feeling good here. I don't see any sign of nerves, any sign of any kind of frustration. I think their break. They took a good step back and recognized exactly what they need to do, and that they need to be calm in this. They don't need to work on counters or something like that. It's all about staying calm and cool.
We're going to find out if they can continue that. Battle number 4 has started. Our last battle on Murovanka.
All right. For tanks, eLevate is going to be bringing a 5100, 2 T32s, 1390, RU251, T54 lightweight, and a 5916. Lamp, T32, 2 Pershings this time, 1390, 2 T54 lightweights, and a 5916. So instead of bringing maybe more hit points, they're going with a little more mobility against a very heavy lineup from eLevate, something that's hard to bully out of position. It's going to be able to sit exactly where it wants. Zone Delta is going to support some T32s, light tanks flexing around. eLevate has to find the weak point and tear it apart, or hope for finding someone in transition.
I really feel like they need to commit a lot faster. I mean, we did see kind of a more comprehensive attack, I would say, overall by eLevate. It's not just a derp inside. It's trying to go dark, doing all the things they need to do to make it very difficult for eLevate to react. But sometimes you just have to go for it right off the bat. You can't do this whole wait thing. You have to just stop your opponent from making the perfect decisions at their own time, right? A lot of times, if you're just blitzing, you're going to be able to have that slight advantage because it makes it a lot harder for your opponents to realize what's coming. If it's 2 or 3 minutes in, they're like, okay, you need to start moving right now. I know you're going to be moving right now. I know you're going to be attacking very soon because you don't have enough time not to.
Exactly. Tempo control. It's all about keeping control of the tempo, making your opponent react to you. But eLevate is one of those teams I felt like they might be able to dictate tempo to eLevate. But again, you have to give credit to eLevate, another team that is very good at dictating the pace, known for their aggression. So it's 2 teams that aren't going to give up tempo. And one of them, each battle, is probably going to grab it. It's going to flip back and forth. They're going to fumble over that kind of control, where some other teams would prefer to play reactive and allow for eLevate to maybe make a mistake in setting the tempo, find the weak point then and go for it. But it's eLevate knowing to stay ahead last battle, eLevate staying ahead in the earliers.
And here we go. It looks like the engagement has kind of started here with Invade and Baby Halo coming in from the bottom right-hand side. Now, that does kind of isolate Azrael 90. Zagarman caught off guard here, and he's going to go down to Invade. Actually, X-Soldier, really nice shot. And first blood over here for battle number 4. Baby Halo is also over here. He's in the tier 6, so it doesn't mean nearly as much. I think he's just going to retract himself, realize that he can get a better place, better angle for everything. Doesn't want to be that extremity that just gets obliterated one-on-one. And the base has started to be capped over here. Baby Halo is the one to start that cap, while Invade is kind of screening cap. G-Forcer trying to come up and reset this.
I like this from eLevate. They're putting the pressure on exactly at the same time. Aggressor, X-Soldier, Starshield, all looking towards Urtai and Zone Delta, the guys who will get the resets, the guys who are dealing the most damage, and just punishing them, forcing them to reconsider their positions and fall back. At the same time, simultaneously going for the objective. Really good pressure. It's going to force eLevate to take a moment to figure out what exactly to do. There's a few little points, though. Invade's about to go on reload. That could be an opening for a counter push from eLevate.
Oh, definitely.
Or they could take the advantage, eLevate taking the advantage, to just press forward at the same time.
And taking down Serenity so fast, that's going to make it very difficult to get that overmatch now that Azrael 90 is kind of segmented and isolated away from the rest of the team. He needs to be very careful about showing himself, but a nice shot on Aggressor will actually put a...
Azrael's shown up at the right time. He's able to put Aggressor low. Now, lowering Akula. And that's taking focus off of Urtai. Urtai moved into to the south and was getting punished. One more shell into Aggressor will take him, and it does.
That's right. Very, very nicely played here. But remember, that cap is still going. Now, Urtai is coming up from the bottom here, trying to reset this cap. He has maybe a shot on Baby Halo. It's really close here. Baby Halo is lit right now. He needs to get it. There it is, the reset, 266. Wow, a bounce shot from Baby Halo, and Zone Delta 94 will be able to take out Baby Halo.
On the damage, for a moment I was going to say eLevate is really losing on the damage. They might not be able to come back, but a few connections on the eLamp.
Yep.
That's starting to bring things back into the game. And Static bouncing on Akula, he did not need that. He will go down. And that was the difference right there. I think that was it. T32 represented the ability to hold on to position. But now Azrael, Urtai have to run. Zone Delta's for 5100. There's damage, but there's no armor. There's no anchor for the team anymore.
626 hit points to 1700. Now, a lot of these tanks can go down in one hit. Actually, Starshield is the only one that can't go down in one hit. But you can very easily be alphaed and kited, so you need to be super careful. But I think what we're going to do is this exactly. We're going to start the cap and put consequences in a place where he can kind of deny people that are trying to get good crossfires across the east side. And then, of course, Starshield is going to be looking over to the west side, making sure that no one's popping up. This is a perfect play from eLamp. I mean, they're able to get good trades in the early game stages, realize their advantage, and still have enough time. Still have enough time to do this base cap.
Yes, and what's great about this base cap, as opposed to maybe hunting tanks down, 5100. Once he's reloaded, he can start kiting people out. He can deal a lot of damage. He can almost kill everyone else on the other team. But starting the cap, where can you put a 5100 at such low health where you can expect any real value beyond 1 or 2 shells?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's almost nowhere that he can get to after retreating the distance he has. Zone Delta is going to be forced into uncomfortable positions. And with Azrael down, that changes a lot.
Okay, well, X-Soldier was taken out. That is... Wow, an
nice shot.
Wow! And it reset the cap completely. 264 hit points. It's 2v2, but of course Starshield has a lot of hit points still. 1,457 hit points to 264. Can Zone Delta and Urtai do this? It's going to be tough, but remember, they're on defense.
And it's time. All they need is the time. Zone Delta, Urtai, do they split up? There's one option there that could allow them to delay their opponent long enough to get the draw. Or the time down to get the victory there.
It's down to the wire. Starshield might have shots here, but I mean, there's a defilade with the beach over on the other side.
Zone Delta, 5100, not fast enough to stay ahead. Not fast enough to get away. And Urtai is not lit.
No, he's not.
He is dark right now.
Should he just, like, stay there?
No. Run. Run as fast as you can. Okay. You're a T54 lightweight. Your opponent has a T54 lightweight.
Oh, he's going to do it.
Not a bad spot. Actually, this is a good way to do it.
eLevate will tie up the series in a nail-biting battle number 4. Wow, that is incredible. All it would have taken, I swear, is like 30 seconds to a minute. But we have to talk about eLamp having the advantage in that last battle. As the aggressors, eLevate was able to take that win, but man, oh man, was it close. If it was given a minute longer, Urtai would have been able to be chased down and eliminated there.
Yeah, it's that they had a hard choice. eLamp had to choose between trying to force their opponent to make the mistakes when trying to stop the cap, or chase them down. And when you try to chase them down, you don't have the hit points, the tank numbers to do that. So it's a situation where you cannot expect good value out of both of your choices. I think the better value is probably in trying to make the cap, but this is what happens. You have 5100 who makes amazing connections. Zone Delta.
We were just talking about it. Like, how is a 5100 able to get into position to?
I was expecting eLamp to spot that angle. I thought that was there's 2 angles to approach the cap from and defend it. Very southeast, very northwest, and maybe an up and over. Maybe you go up and over the hill, but you only need one person for that. Someone could have been in the southeast, and I think that was where eLamp left the opening.
Yes.
And eLevate was able to exploit that for victory.
You know, they were trying. I do feel like they were looking over there. It's just the timing. It was just a little bit too fast. They weren't able to spot nearly well enough, and of course they get punished. But that's also because a lot of the other tanks for eLamp were actually really low, just one shot away. Even the one that wasn't off on cap. So I have to say, maybe it's just the fact that that they weren't capable of spotting. They weren't capable of getting into position because they were so low in hit points.
In hindsight, maybe Starshield, the Pershing who was sitting much healthier, could have been the one to be on cap.
Yeah,
or
definitely.
he could have been shielding on cap, and you could have taken the risk of, okay, let's just point guns in every direction. When they come around, yes, they're going to take us down a little bit, but what else are we going to do?
Yeah. But, you know, of course, hindsight is 2020. We see everything on the map. We know exactly where they're coming from. And that's what makes this battle and this series so beautiful. These guys do not. They don't see anything at all but, you know, what they're actually scouting. Yeah. And they're still able to come to such great conclusions. I Love Lamp versus eLevate, a battle for the ages.
All right, now we're going to Himmelsdorf. And 110, 250 100s, 2 IS-3s, T-32, and an AMX-12T for eLevate on their first attack of Himmelsdorf. Defending, I Love Lamp have the opportunity to play 4 defenses in a row, 3 50-100s, 3 IS-3s, and a T-37. This is where they can sit back and defend and try and feel out eLevate, or at least tire them out in a way.
Now
attacking and attacking and attacking and attacking is going to put strain onto eLevate. They're going to get more tired.
Yes, I completely agree. And that could be the thought process and why they choose the order of things, too. You know, we always talk about that 12T, Z Garmin over here on the bottom left-hand corner of the map. He's the one that's going to threaten a lot of cap pressure. And now, since he's in a pretty good position, he can actually scout rather well and not be spotted if he gets far enough. Azrael actually taking a little bit of damage, it looks like.
Yeah, and Aggressor getting into a position we don't get to explore a lot, actually, and that is the hold down right down the 3 line. From here, an IS-3 can take up some pretty interesting positions and make some work happen, but Serenity's getting torn apart.
Yeah, he's all the way on the hill there. Really good shots. Aggressor, Akula, and X-Soldier are putting out shots on this hill and connecting with Serenity. He's down to 317 hit points at a 1400.
Yeah, and X-Soldier being where he is in the middle of the courtyard of Himmelsdorf. You'd usually think this is an exposed position, a very unsafe position, but the coverage from I Love Lamp, while very spread out, is working perfectly against eLevate. They knew what eLevate was going to do, and their entire strategy appears to be focused around controlling those sections of the map and punishing eLevate for just being there.
Wow, it's such a different style. I Love Lamp has said, okay, we're going to take the west side control, make sure that you're off of there with that 12T, but then also we're going to creep over to the center and stop and halt a lot of tank alley pushes. And what that does is burns time. We always talk about time as a resource. It's very important, and it's locking a lot of eLevate in place to stop them from ever getting near the cap. And let me tell you, it's hard. It's hard being the aggressors and trying to win by eliminating your opponents.
Yeah, now, here's one place where this can go wrong, though, Andre.
What's that?
X-Soldier in the middle. I talked about him being on the fountain. If he doesn't get real support and a counterplay from his teammates on I Love Lamp soon, he's just going to go down, and I Love Lamp's really just going to have burned some time on the clock, and that will be the only thing they gain.
It does look like it's happening. Aggressor is aggressing very fast over on that D line. Or on that G line, along with Akula, who's doing the wrap around, probably going to go all the way up, so he has a good shot on the 5 line. Zone Delta is over there, of course. And shots. Oh, Aggressor doesn't get the connection, but Zone Delta gets a big shot all the way over from X-Soldier, 404 hit points.
Yeah, there are 3 tanks on the hill for eLevate, and right now out of the fight. I Love Lamp doesn't recognize the overmatch they have, but they are beginning to push in. And there, X-Soldier is going to go down, losing that tank on the fountain, but Urtai, with support from above, might be in here. He is taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, they might, but, you know, I really feel like Akula is a big component of getting rid of this position. You can see G-Forcer out of position, 609 hit points, and now Aggressor, wow, Aggressor and Akula just absolutely wrecking and ganking their opponents. They need to be careful because Azrael 90 right behind them on their tail.
Exactly. What is the proper response? eLevate's got a lot of tanks out of position right now.
They do. They do because I don't think they're expecting the defense to be so aggressive. But I love how the defense is using position and space as, you know, a really good way to stall the clock. 2 minutes, 57 seconds. Do you ever think that they're going to be able to cap? They still have a lot of tanks to go through, and on top of that, they have to go and cap or find everybody. Baby Halo all the way in the top middle. He's covering the flag. He's making sure that Garmin isn't going to be able to do anything over there. I feel like eLevate is just playing a super comprehensive style for this map.
Exactly. I agree completely. eLevate's not going to have time to go for the victory conditions, baby. Halo's all the way in the back.
Yep.
If Garmin goes for the cap, he's going to have to take him on. There's going to be delays. It's not going to work. Invade is able to escape consequences, is in a solid position, and eLevate doesn't have the hit points to push forward with. eLevate is sitting pretty. Everything is going right for them. Although, Garmin being where he is, he's getting good connections and good damage onto Aggressor, but no, not able to get the kills. eLevate is on top of it. And the cover fire from Invade, almost enough.
Akula is going to take a little bit of damage here. Oh, actually puts damage out in Urtai, and he's going to be reloaded. Down he goes. Akula would take him out. Now Serenity 17 gets double tapped right there. Akula will go down eventually, but not after eLevate is losing a lot of their tanks here. And remember, their win condition now for eLevate is kill all the tanks, stop the caps, or just wait until like 45 seconds and make it impossible for your opponents to cap and just hide.
Yeah.
That's completely reasonable. Look where Baby Halo is.
Now you have every reason to be able to walk away with from this battle with the victory. Azrael, while in IS3, I mean, minute and 17, you can't deal 18-42 in a pro match like this.
No, not at all. Especially when Baby Halo is on top of the ridge, basically saying you'll never, ever, ever be able to win. Down goes Azrael 90, and only one tank left. He's one shot away from dying. And it looks like eLevate, another very high-level, clean sweep against their opponents, being the aggressors when you're supposed to be the defenders. Static will go down, and eLevate loses another one. eLevate up 3-2 in this series. Now, I know they're the defenders, but they're making it look very, very simple.
It may look simple, but it's a matter of contrast, usually, in the way things look in World of Tanks. We've seen before teams that look absolutely brilliant, and we talk about it and we're so impressed, but then you take a minute and you look back and you say, okay, there's this, and this that went wrong, and that's why it was such a landslide victory from time to time. Here, for eLevate, it was that their strategy was designed to work around what eLevate brought. It was a counter, and so it was supposed to win. If it didn't win, it was eLevate's mistake. eLevate could have tried to flex out of it, but just the way they rolled out was disadvantageous for them.
Yes, I agree. Just off the bat, eLevate basically said, hey, we know they like to do this a lot of times. They go over to the west side. They're a little bit slower in Tank Alley. Let's go, take the west side, get those great crossfires again across the courtyard, and be able to stop any of those fast or medium pushes. And they were able to get initial damage on in the beginning phase, really stalemate out the battle. They didn't protect against like huge north side, all the tanks going up the hill, did they? They knew exactly what their opponents were doing and just defended against that.
Yeah, it's both teams being very focused around tempo and just knowing how to deal it. And it's going to go back and forth. These guys are going to just flex back and forth. It's going to go into the control of eLevate. It's going to go back in favor of eLevate from time to time.
It's going to be down to the wire for sure. What do we have for tanks, Rootkill, for battle number 6?
All right, 110, 2 5100s, 2 IS3s, T32, and a 12T for eLevate. eLevate, 3 5100s, 3 IS3s, and a T37. A much more standard layout.
Standard for defense especially, right? Having that burst with the Alpha, having the burst with the IS3s, and also having the 5100s for that really, really nice auto-loading fires.
Exactly. You got to balance it. That's one of the things that you see a lot of teams when you see them succeed on maps like Himmelsdorf. They bring a balance of half autoloaders maybe and half consistent fire IS3, T32, whatever you want. But you very rarely see loadouts that are going to bring heavy into the autoloaders win. You see a little heavier on IS3s and T32s win sometimes, and that's because they're able to focus down and utilize armor and hit points to their advantage.
Oh, Garmin cannot do these same runs, man. This is the same exact thing we saw last time. He immediately gets shot at. It does connect this time around. Aggressor almost hit his shot, but Garmin was able to barely make it out of there. We do see basically the same type of opening from both of these teams. I Love Lamp, though, staying a little bit more on the southwest side. Let's see if they actually go and rotate over to Tank Alley.
Yeah, in a moment, Serenity and Urtai, they're the ones that I'm going to be paying attention to. Just give them a moment, and we'll see if they're going to go 8-line. They could go to the hill, which is an option for them, especially if they're expecting something similar to last time. They could try and counter out the play of trying to push distance by getting in behind them and forcing I Love Lamp to attack a position which they normally hold.
Oh, actually, Baby Halo is spotted here. That should actually be a pretty big indicator for the rest of I Love Lamp. If Baby Halo is spotted, a lot of times you're saying to yourself, well, I know they're probably going up Tank Alley, or they have anywhere from the G line spotting me. I need to be very careful. So Baby Halo needs to be comprehensive. Scout out. He's going to round this corner and say, are you over here? Am I going to be spotted again?
Surprise.
Baby Halo needs to be so careful. And now the strategy of eLevate is shown. But is it too late? That's the question. Can I Love Lamp get into position to defend against the second cap?
They don't have a lot of time for this. G-Forcer pulling out of the south is spotted. We do have the option for a flank from eLevate, and they're not going to go for it. They know they're too strung out. They're recognizing that it's a weak position. They can't go for the cap.
Yeah,
smart call, staying under control, holding back.
I agree. We were talking about this before, too, with eLevate being hard countered a little bit by I Love Lamp, and eLevate realizing, saying, hey, they really defend hard against West. Let's make it look like we're, again, going for that West side push and get the jump on that second cap. I love what they're doing. Serenity 17 getting into position already, and guess how many tanks are over in that that A5 quadrant, A4 quadrant rather? 0. There's nobody in that hold down position. If Baby Halo can actually get some back shots on Z-Garmin, wow, this can actually get a little bit complicated.
Yeah? Does Baby Halo know exactly where Z-Garmin is?
I
don't think he
so.
does.
They might, well, they're proxy scouting each other right now.
Okay, there we go. Now he's going to be able to react, but running into a building.
Oh, no, and Baby Halo will go down. That's actually pretty huge, as Z-Garmin can go in that cap, be placed in that cap pressure, and then, of course, they can be shielded by another Tier 8 tank.
And then Zone Delta's already in position.
Yep.
He's already sitting there waiting for Z-Garmin to get into position, and these bounces onto Azrael.
Oh, wow. X-Soldier paid for it. 1,000 damage of Alpha being done just trying to get this position.
They just threw Azrael away. eLevate, I think, just lost focus. They weren't thinking for a moment, thought they could go forward, did not recognize that I Love Lamp had that many guns waiting for them. And now, down at Tier 8, Azrael was such a useful tank for them in such a great position. I Love Lamp now has a great lead in hit points. They can work with this. They can defend. eLevate is going to have a hard time making it work, especially because they lost all of their hit.
We do have the push across, though. Serenity 17 and Urtai are pushing across this open area in the second cap, and they will be able to get shots on X-Soldier. It looks like maybe even be able to screen this cap, although they take a big shot from X-Soldier. He will eventually go down to Serenity 17. 2 more shots, and Urtai still has 3 more shots left. Let's see what he's able to do.
Yeah. In the south, Akula is about to go down under the focus of G-Forcer and Z-Garmin. You're seeing the 12T come into play here and deal just so much damage. 872, 10, 27, and 1 more should finish him off.
Oh, gosh. Urtai is currently in a place where he's reloading. These 5100s don't have a lot of shells left. We did see that it's kind of evened up a little bit, but not really. There's still a lot of hit points on these 3 Tier 8 tanks.
Invade is in a position primed to tear apart a few tanks from eLevate. All he has to do is work on getting them one at a time, but he does not. eLevate reacts perfectly, focusing on Invade and understanding how to position.
Okay.
Now, look at the hit points, 2,000.
But it's 5 tanks against 2.
Exactly. Hit points, though, in favor of Lamp. If they can get the tanks from eLevate to come out one by one or expose them one by one, engage them, separated from each other at least a little bit. All you have to do with a 5100 is just be able to get your reload through.
But he only has 2 shells. Consequences only has 2 shells. He hasn't actually changed anything. Star Shield is going to be isolated right now, and it looks like there's just too much over here. Does Urtai have enough shells? Yes, he has plenty. He has 4. Wow.
And he's got backup. So Delta is here.
Urtai's still alive!
452.
No way! Urtai has 10 hit points left. What a low roll. That's incredible. And of course, consequences, he only has 2 shots left. It's not going to be enough, but maybe he can get the reset on cap and still live. It's going to be really, really close here, Rootkill.
But Static's in a perfect position. He has found him.
Oh,
and he's able to get
misses.
one. He needs another.
Down he goes, but he's reloading now.
And 30 seconds on the cap. He does
There's no
not
way.
have time to reload.
There's no way. He needs to ram, and let me tell you, if you ram with that 5100, you're going to die. eLevate looks, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. eLevate barely pulls this win out of the hat.
It very well should have been I Love Lamp for a few minutes there, but it's just good reactions. You see players stuck in positions that are very delicate and are very dependent on individual performance. Invade, for example, had a lot of reason to be able to get a few kills, but he just wasn't able to find the right tank at the right time. They didn't line up for him. And that's it, eLevate. Oh, and there's the kills too.
Really well played by both of these teams, but eLevate coming out on top. I mean, you saw it. They were down 1,000 hit points, but still with some masterful tanking. We had a lot of action going on the north side, a lot of action going on the D line, but still it looked like eLevate just knew how to position their tanks. They actually did like a ring around the rosy and made it really difficult for I Love Lamp to actually chase through, while the I Love Lamp guys over here on the south side just stayed very stationary.
I think this is a huge part where eLevate were able to bring themselves back and give themselves a reasonable chance. Akula does a huge amount of damage, really throwing eLevate behind, but you've got Zigarman at 12T is still alive and able to deal damage, where GeForcer would have had to waste a few extra precious seconds. You had a 12T, a fast little mobile tank able to do some help. He also takes out a crucial T37, who's sitting in the backfield able to tear you apart.
Yep.
I think that you really have to give Zigarman a ton of credit for this battle. He was in the right place at the right time.
I think so.
To really push any engagement into the favor of his own team.
Also, let's talk about hit point sharing. I mean, we saw very similar hit points at the very end, but it really matters to share those hit points. What that means is grab your battle buddy and make sure that both of you are almost dead, but not dead. That way you can still have the same DPM of a regular tank. If you're able to maintain that, you're the one at the very end that gets that extra shot, even though some autoloaders can go bang, 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 bang. That's not what you have a lot of times. Those autoloaders are reloading, and the IS-3s can be pretty much bursted down with a combination of IS-3s and autoloaders themselves.
Exactly. That's the ideal situation. Now, it looks like I Love Lamp has called a timeout after that one. Makes sense, right? You just had a really rough time. It's another one of those back and forths where two teams that play a tempo game are trying to constantly grab it back and force the opponent onto the back foot, but they're both doing the same thing in that way. So you get a very teeter-tottery battle, just like what we saw.
Well, the other big thing that we have to talk about is we're switching up in positions. eLevate is the one that's going to be defending from here on out. And if the statistics are true, you know, Himmelsdorf, we had ordinarily around a 66 to a 75% win rate for the defenders. That means more often than not, we're going to see 2 wins from the defenders. Will eLevate be able to take those 2 wins and close out the series here? Time will tell. A lot of pressure on these guys. 75,000 for first, 40,000 for second. So that's a $35,000 difference. That's no chump change, that's for sure.
No, not at all. That's pressure right there. Now that we're switching sides, who do you think is going to be able to perform better?
I mean, I feel like eLevate is on the upswing, right? They've had the last couple battles really in the pocket right there. I mean, it was close on battle number 4, but over here on Himmelsdorf, I feel like they have played very, very well. They're going to be able to come back here. It's tough, though. Anything can really happen, especially with I Love Lamp. We've seen some innovative stuff happen on this particular map. Let's see if they can do it once again.
All right, looking at the lineups, we're actually almost mirrored this time. We've got 3 5100s for either side, 2 IS-3s for eLevate with a T32, and they're going to have a KV2. Makes sense on defense. But on the attack, the slight variation is this. Instead of that T32, you've got another IS-3 and a 12T for mobility and spotting, played by Baby Halo. So very similar in damage potentials of these teams, but that extra tank, that tier 6, they've chosen to go with utility on the side of I Love Lamp and just a little bit more burst and alpha on the side of eLevate so that they can hold their position.
Okay, we'll see how they actually utilize their advantages and kind of hedge their disadvantages. I also want to remind you guys that, you know, it is 3-3, so we're basically down to a best of 3 now. First to 2 points will take it overall. On top of the money, there's also representing the North American region. The winner will move on and represent North America alongside of Roulette. Over in Poland, April 25th. That's going to be very exciting as well. The best teams in the world coming together for a single purpose, that is to be the best players in World of Tanks.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge for them. Looking at the tempo control style, I think it's something that when you take international, you can really start to make
baby Halo,
things
be
happen.
Careful!
And, that hurts.
Didn't work.
That hurts a lot.
That's right.
eLevate now has a lot going for them because where you had utility with that 12T, some mobility and flexibility, Baby Halo has...
what can you really do in this position? eLevate is not really putting pressure anymore or as much over on the west side because you need that 12T alive to be able to cap. Now that's not possible, so they're going to go back, kind of defend up, go into that northwest kind of area and be able to deal with their opponents. Of course, they're going to now keep probably 1 tier 8 just around so they can swing around into the G line and up the courtyard to get that great shot over in the center to stop any of those caps, but still they know what their opponents are capable of and what their opponents are not capable of, and most importantly, it is a cap on the west side. This is great follow-up play from eLevate. They're able to recognize very quickly.
Exactly. Serenity, Zigarman, Azrael are all primed to make them pay the toll. And as they get close, eLevate, will they stop? Good play. All right, I agree with that. Stopping for just a moment to group up is great, but that will allow you to take damage from G-Forcer, which will prompt eLevate to push even further, and Aggressor gets tracked on the corner. He should go down in this. Serenity just has to get few more connected shells against Aggressor, and X-Soldier is already at half health as well. One more is all it takes. And that's it.
Down he goes. A fantastic advantage.
Serenity will go down in response. They're going to trade out for that.
But you got to realize that G-Forcer is still in a really nice position in this cubby, and he can be very easily defended. It's not too easy for the rest of eLevate to isolate him, and so you're up against a T-32 that's in pretty nice hold-down position, although they're doing a great job being able to make their shots count.
Exactly. Now, eLevate wasn't able to get good control over the 5-6 line, and Zone Delta and Static have been able to move up without having to worry about too much. But with Akula coming in late, that could work out for them.
It's exactly what they needed, right? Akula is the one to stop Static and Zone Delta from getting those awesome shots on invade consequences. All the guys over on that A5, A4 type of area. I really like Akula's position. A lot of forward thinking. They're still trying to take out G-Forcer, where G-Forcer has a lot better shots ordinarily on these IS-3s if they're able to attack them in the Shuka. It's a lot more open than, you know, any of the vulnerable places on the T-32.
All right, fight happening in the south and at the same time prompting a counter push from eLevate in the north. Shots going into Star Shield. First, one more connection from Azrael will do it, or Zigarman will take him down.
Yep.
And in the north, it will be eLevate. In the south, eLevate will come out ahead.
That's right. If we look at the hit points, 1,600 to 3,100 in favor of eLevate. So not looking too good for eLevate. Urtai going to round the corner. He has 5 shots left. He sees consequences, lines it up, and connects.
Although he's only got 2 shells left, that's not enough to take down Urtai. The other 5,100, Akula is reloading.
Boom! Down he goes, and only 1 tank left. As you said, he's reloading. Not looking good. 1 versus 4 with a very, very healthy Urtai still in his 5,100.
Yeah, this is a situation where Akula is not going to be able to get the win. What's going to happen is this. eLevate needs to take a moment and say, okay, we are now at a disadvantage. eLevate's going to be up a battle on us, and use the time, the 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in this battle, to just talk. Just talk with each other and discuss what's going to happen this next battle. Take a moment to have everyone else just take a deep breath, manage the stress, and then be able to come back this next battle. That final chance for them to tie it up and bring it to the tiebreaker.
I mean, they really need to make sure they lock up Baby Halo, because it's unfortunate. A lot of what came of this game is just losing that 12T super early. It tells you exactly what eLevate is capable of. down they go. eLevate will take the lead for the first time here in the finals of Season 5.
Yeah, one more, and that's all they need to close it out. They're playing well. You can tell that eLevate is having some problems. I think Baby Halo was one point you can focus on. He's getting aggressive, and the rest of the team is not being brought in
I wouldn't
to
even
support
say
him.
aggressive. I would say predictable. That's the big problem. We've seen the same thing over and over from these 12 Ts, knowing exactly where they go. Boom, double tap, or single kill. And then from there, what can the rest of eLevate really do? They can't go over to the west side and cap. That's suicide, I would say. So they're going to go for that north side push. And as long as eLevate makes that comprehensive defense, takes that cubby, they're going to be in a really good spot.
Yes, and I think that also you give a lot of credit to eLevate for being able to follow up, not letting go.
That's true.
They just keep putting the pressure on. They're not allowing eLevate to really have the time to get the deep breath that we're talking about, to really switch things around, because that's all that has to happen. I think one moment of freedom to maneuver as you would like is all you need to turn a fight that was disadvantageous into one that's advantageous. I haven't been thinking about that as much, but I'm realizing it now. In each of these fights where we've seen it flip-flop, you've had a few seconds where there's just been this lull in the fight. When there hasn't been the lull in the fight, that's when you've seen that momentum just crash over and you see a winner come out ahead.
Very decisively, you're saying.
Yes, decisively.
Yeah.
But when you see that, when you see a disengagement, when you see members of eLevate able to distract the rest of it, eLevate, they're able to maneuver as they would like, and then they're able to get into the right position.
Yep.
And the same goes for eLevate. When they're able to hold off eLevate, they can just take a deep breath, and they can figure out what they need to do in 10, 5 seconds even.
A super deep breath. Ladies and gentlemen, this is match point. Match point going into this battle number 8 over here on Himmelsdorf. Each shot matters so much. Each shot can mean $1,000 each. So you got to make sure your shots count. Let's go ahead and get into battle.
All right, 3 5100s for either side. 2 IS-3s, a T-32, and a KV-2 for eLevate on the defense. eLevate on the attack with 3 5100s, an IS-3, 2 KV-5s,
oh, gosh.
and a 5916. They're trying to just bring a few more hit points to this.
Yeah, but, you know, Game is Rigged was on here before talking about the 3rd and 4th match. We were talking about how 2 KV-5s, it's just so obvious what you're doing. You know you're going to do that center line push. You're not really going to go over to the west side. Does that make it too obvious for eLevate to stop an attack like this?
And on top of that, he was bringing up the point of the 5916. Another tank which is not necessarily what he, in his opinion, one of the stronger tanks. That's a point of a good argument, I believe. It doesn't have the greatest pen. It's going to have trouble against tanks like IS-3s and T-32s. The KV-2 might even pose a problem. It does bring mobility, though. It's a small, low profile, and it has its pros, but I think eLevate could have brought other tanks and probably had a better time with it. It's a confusing choice against a lineup that we're seeing out of eLevate.
Oh man, I'm so nervous right now because we see the movements coming out of eLevate. They're just hesitating a little bit, making sure that the guys on top are ready for this push in, and now up the D line. There actually aren't any spotters just yet. Static isn't in position to see these guys actually pop up, so nobody is lit up just yet. Static just moving over, and there it is, as you said.
Shots fired, 417 into X-Soldier. At the same time, you can see Urtai and Zone Delta are already on it. They're a step ahead. eLevate is getting ready for exactly what eLevate is going to pull, and they're just waiting for them to get into position.
But look at GeForcer, look at Zagarman, look at Serenity and Azrael. They're all ready for this attack. They know this is a standard defense. If they're able to stop this, it's the win right now and a $45,000 bonus on their check. Let's find out if they're able to do it.
And it's costing them a heck of a lot to start this fight. Aggressor is at half health. Starshield's taking some damage. Baby Halo can't take much more, and he needs just to get into a safe position. Now you can see Urtai, Zone Delta, Static, all pulling into the proper positions to start putting pressure onto eLevate. eLevate needs to make a strong play.
Oh my gosh, look at the contra flank. Zone Delta all the way on Tank Alley. We got Urtai in the courtyard. All of the eLevate guys are in perfect position to stop this cap and also get a brilliant position on their opponents.
eLevate's got it. All they have to do is push forward in the north and in the south at the same time. They have positions. Static Serenity, hold, invade, consequences, and X-Soldier in position.
Yeah.
At the same time, Zigarman, Azrael, G-Forcer can push forward, take out the KB5s.
Oh my
From
gosh.
there, you just push in and you've got they're in a corridor. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, they're stuck in a corner, and G-Forcer finally taking a little bit of damage for the first time, but you can see his hold down position is coming up huge over here. Now taking another shot onto Aggressor. G-Forcer is coming up so well. 11 shots, 9 hit, 1537 damage, and 2 kills.
That's it.
G-Forcer, a huge
eLevate's
MVP.
pulling out. They're pulling out of the middle, going all the way north. Going to try and do an overmatch and last-ditch effort to just take someone out. Invade's going to jump on a G-Forcer, solo him, while Consequences is going to go after Azrael.
I don't know if this is going to work, man. X-Soldier right now not in a great position. I mean, already so much damage has been done. It's good to isolate these tanks and get out of fire from Urtai and Zone Delta, but they're pressing up very quickly. Urtai, 6 shots in his loader. He's ready to do some damage. X-Soldier is his first victim.
Urtai, though, shows up to save. And he's going to take down X-Soldier's. Consequences will go down next. Zigarman's even going to be able to reload.
And down he goes. Is this going to be it? Star Shield down. 1 shot. Down he goes. Akula, the last guy standing for eLevate. So many red tanks. eLevate is just swarming Akula. This is going to be it. Is it going? eLevate will be your Season 5 finalist, your Season 5 winner.
That was beautiful. You could see it. They figured out their opponent. They knew exactly what they were going to do, staying a step ahead. And just when it counted. It took a moment. It was a hard-fought battle against a team that knows how to take control of tempo. But they come out ahead in the end.
Some really clever fights coming out from both of these teams. I mean, we saw some great brawls, understanding of how to control their tanks, very complicated situations where there's multi-attacks going on, and we had some great calls from both teams, but in the end, we saw just the overall comprehensiveness. We say it time and time again, but the comprehensiveness of eLevate. They did everything that eLevate was able to do and a little bit more. Have a better defense, attack a little bit better, and that's what it takes to be the Season 5 champions.
Exactly, and just be a step ahead. Every move from eLevate in this last battle would have worked had eLevate waited 10 seconds more.
That's all it would have taken.
That's all it was.
But those 10 seconds gave the eLevate that extra crossfire to get consistent damage on their opponents. And let me tell you, players like G-Forcer put out 2,400 damage, 3 tanks killed, and still stayed alive. We got a lot of MVPs out from these. It's just a team of really fantastic players.
Yeah, you have to give it to G-Forcer, I think, first of all.
Yep.
Being one of the longest standing members of this team. Really keeping it together and always being there. He is an excellent T-32, and on Himmelsdorf, you can count on him to be dangerous. There is no player I've ever heard to have anything but the greatest respect for his T-32 play on this map.
That's right, and you also look at players like Zigarman that had a KV2, still doing 2,000 damage, 2 kills. I mean, this is the type of team that we were talking about from the beginning. There aren't super huge, like, superstars, I would say, but there are specialists that know what they're doing, knows how to use their tanks, and are able to do it at the absolute highest level in all of WGLNA. They've proved it right here that they're capable of greatness. We're going to see them be capable of greatness over in Poland April 25th as they fight to represent the North American region. Clutch, take it away with eLevate.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. eLevate, congratulations. This is one of the greatest feats we have seen in World of Tanks esports. Formerly Bernal Empires, in and out when it came to the Gold League, led by G-Forcer. Now, with the new sponsorship and partnership with eLevate and Zoid leading the charge, you have done it. You are champion. Zoid, how does it feel?
I don't even have words, which is not something you'll ever hear me say, to describe how excited I am. Before we do anything, I want these guys to turn around. I want you to see their names. They have put in so much work this season. This was the goal. Look at these guys. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all of these guys for getting us here because, I mean, that is World of Tanks.
That is definitely World of Tanks. Also, eLevate, it was a really tough fight. In what moments did you feel that they were really working hard to get the title for themselves? We saw some great play on Mirovanka and some great play on Himmelsdorf.
Absolutely. Like Rue said earlier, they were here practicing all day yesterday. I saw strats that I've never seen in World of Tanks before, and they executed them almost flawlessly. Fortunately, thanks to our leadership, thanks to the amount of time that we put into this game, we were able to deal with them, but they gave us a great match. Awesome job. I love Lamp.
Give it up for I Love Lamp, folks. Very well done, our second place team. Now what this means, eLevate, is you will represent North America at the Global Grand Finals in Poland on April 25th and 26th. What will you do to prepare for that event?
You know, we're going to hit it hard. The meta in other regions is different than what we've had to face in our region. So we've got a lot of scouting, we've got a lot of scrimming, and we have a lot of hard work because we're not done winning.
They're not done winning. We're going to be rooting for you in Poland. Finally, Zoid, anything you'd like to say to your fans?
You know, thank you guys all for watching. The fans are the reason we do this. There are guys out there, Ted, Sir Pete, they're guys who every day, they're on Twitter, they're in our streams. You guys make it possible for us to do this, so keep doing that, and we'll keep doing this.
Gentlemen, congratulations. Please go ahead and make your way to the main stage, where Chris Karlowitz, the commissioner of the WGLNA Gold League, Oscar Miranda, head of esports for Wargaming America, and Donovan Henriksen, project manager from ESL, will present your trophy.
Congratulations. All right, guys, welcome up here. As Clutch just said, well done. I remember at the beginning of the season, GeForce are sending me a little tell saying, hey, by the way, we got a name change here. And that was about an hour before we had to submit name changes for the season. You guys became eLevate, and look where we are now. So congratulations to you guys. I want to present you guys with our winner's trophy for this season. And here it is. That's for you two. And I want to say congratulations to our Season 5 WGLNA champions, Team eLevate. There we go. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That does it for our broadcast. Today, we crowned a champion in North America, and on April 25th and 26th, we will crown a champion of the world. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Plantronics, and on behalf of everybody here at the WGLNA, thanks for watching, good night, and good game.